Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bourbon Street. We're here in New York City at one of my favorite clubs again, SOBs, where tonight we're going to be entertained by a fantastic, a tough saxophonist, Mr. Bobby Watson. How you doing, Bobby?
Oh, fine, Big Daddy. It's good to be here.
Oh, good to have you here. Good to have you back here in New York. You don't live too far from here, do you?
No, I'm just right up the street in Midtown in the Manhattan Plaza. It's an artist building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us, now I know about your work from Blue Note Records, from Columbia Records, but tell us about how you got into music.
Well, my father plays tenor saxophone. He was a pilot by trade, but he always had music in the home. He tuned pianos and repaired instruments. So there was always instruments in the house and pianos, and sometimes 2 and 3 pianos in the house at once. And there was always music in the house, so I knew I wanted to play music from a very young age. And at first I thought I wanted to play drums, and I started on piano, and next year I started on clarinet, and then when I was in high school I started on tenor sax first, and then I moved to alto, and just started adding instruments. I was the kind of guy that had the key to the band room, so I was taking all the instruments home every night. Bassoon, the tuba, the baritone, French horn, I took them all home. The upright bass, at one time I had them all at the house. So I was, learned all the fingerings on all those instruments, and that helped me later in my writing, knowing the ranges of the instruments and how they work. It helps you to write for them, the trombone and whatnot.
When you were young, who did you listen to on the radio?
Well, when I was young, I listened to AM radio, so I heard Maceo. He's one of my all-time heroes, and King Curtis, Junior Walker, things like this. And being someone who was interested in instrumental music, I was looking for a higher level. Not that that's not on a higher level, but I was listening for more notes, because, I'm into scale. We were all young. And, I led myself toward jazz. At the time I didn't know that's what I was hearing in my head, because as a young man you didn't have a name for it. But it turns out that higher level of instrumental performance that I was looking for was jazz and bebop, things like this.
At what point did you meet and play with Art Blakey?
That was in 1976. I met Art in October. In fact, October 11th, I remember. It was his birthday, and he asked me to join the Messengers. We jammed a little bit, and then in January of 77, I actually joined the band, and I was waiting for 4.5 years. And after the great Walter Davis left the band, the pianist, I became the musical director for the duration of the time. And we did 12 records and went all around the world and had a lot of fun. And Art was one positive human being, and he loved young people.
How was that period of education with Art?
It was invaluable, for me, during those 4.5 years, I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't try to tell him anything, I just listened. And if he asked me my opinion, I would give it. But other than that, I wouldn't offer any type of opinion or thoughts, because it was sort of like an apprenticeship for me, and where it just, if he needed me to sit, I used to car sit. After all day, he'd put me in his car, and he would stop at different places, and I'd just be sitting in the car for hours. And then he'd get in the car and drive to the next place and leave, and I'd be sitting in the car all day. So I just hung with him for 4.5 years.
Now, what period did you and Victor Lewis meet?
Well, it was actually during that period I started doing records with Roulette. And I did my second record in 79 for Roulette, All Because of You. And I was still with Art, but I had a little time off, and so I did this record. And that's when I first hooked up with Victor back in 79, and he's on that record. And he's also from Nebraska, so we had this same feeling from the Midwest vibe. And so after that, we've hooked up occasionally over the years, and one day we just decided to make it a partnership, and make it permanent for a while. And since that time, Victor's done 2 records on his own and started to branch out as a leader on his own. So I'm really, really proud of the things that we were able to accomplish together, all the records we made.
The development of the group Horizon, whether it's yours or a combination of you and Victor?
It was definitely a combination of me and Victor, and also I must mention Curtis Lundy in the beginning, and Mulgrew Miller, and Kenny Washington, the drummer, and Mulgrew plays piano. Those were all contributors to the concept, because it changed over the years. He's talking from 1983 to last year, 85. Actually, 84 was the last gig of Horizon. And it's not the last gig. We're just sort of, I add to everything. Nothing is done. I'm just always adding nothing is in place of. It's just in addition to whatever you already have. So, you know, Horizon at the right time and with the right circumstances and conditions, we will be, you know, more than happy to get back together and play.
29th Street Saxophone Quartet?
Oh, we're still together. We rehearse weekly, and that's been 14 years with that one together, the same personnel. And we're just trying to get heard here in the States. It's really a real tragedy. I can't tell you how much that group should be heard in America, because in Europe we're so big. You know, we open for Miles and Dizzy and everybody over the years, you know, because it's such a compelling group. It's visual, because we don't use mics and all the music is memorized, so we are free to move around. So you have a combination of theater, and we're visual as much as we are oral. And this is the thing that's missing, that doesn't really come across on our records, is that you have to really see us live. And mainly all music is like that, really. The more when you come down and see the artists live, you might buy the records, but I remember when I first